So on today's episode, we're going to be talking to Corey Hatt, the founder of Mad Hatter Industries, a veteran apparel company with a mental health initiative that focuses, and the mission is on prevention of suicide in our community. I'm Bruno, and this is The Battle Plan. All right, guys. So on today's episode, we have Corey Hatt. Like I said, he is the founder of Mad Hatter's Industry, an apparel company. I'm wearing the T-shirt. If you're not watching on YouTube, no quarters given, which I really like. He has another one, which I want him to talk about, the Memento Morris one. He served 20 years in the Canadian Armed Forces as a military police army reservist, served 2 tours in Afghanistan, and is the current platoon commander at 32 Military Police Platoon out of Toronto. As you guys know, Toronto is the center of Canada, if not the center of the world. So that's why he's living there. And he's also, which is very interesting, hopefully we can have enough time to talk about this, former Armed Nuclear Response Team leader, currently working full-time in Ontario Power Generation as a senior scientist for the Enterprise Emergency Management Team in Nuclear Division. This is let's start there.
It's been a busy last 10 years. So that's quite the introduction. Thanks, Bruno. Also, former expedition member with True Patriot Love. So I was on the 2012 expedition. And I understand you were on the one after that. So we have some shared experience there, but definitely something that changed my life. And so if we want to start off with current full-time position that I have at Ontario Power Generation, I get to help basically power the province of Ontario. We create 60% of the province's power, 90% of that being nuclear. And we all know how important green initiatives is right now. So when I came out of the Army, I had no idea we even had nuclear plants. I was just told by a friend, we have these armed tactical officers, they get paid a lot of money. Would you be interested? And then, of course, not having a job, coming back from 309, that was the last tour I did. I was injured and I had just enough time to rehabilitate to try out for the team. Back then, you had to run 9.5 on your beep test, which was formidable for someone still rehabilitating from their injuries. Fortunately, I had some good friends that were on the close protection unit that were also there, and they're watching me in the background going through the testing, and I was too embarrassed not to quit. So I just kept going. I made it through, and 6 months afterwards is an intensive process, but they hired me and I spent 5 years on the teams. I left as a team leader, did a lot of cool tactics, a lot of training with different Toronto ETF police officers. We had some people from the military as well that trained with us. Really great program. Every 5 weeks we're on the range doing a lot of dynamic shooting, IRD, stealth movement. And I do miss the teams and the people there. And we have some ambassadors that are a part of those teams. And it's not just over here at Ontario Power Generation, but we have other teams out in the Bruce, out in New Brunswick, actually. But it's a great job. And I've been there ever since. I've been there for over 10 years. Really cool place to work. I've never understood the integrity, the different sides of the integrity, how to keep together the nuclear process. There's a lot of things. It's a simple idea, but there's still a lot of moving parts and a lot of different groups that help make that safe, reliable power generation. But what I do now is I work in emergency preparedness, essentially. So what I do with the military part-time, we go on exercise. I do the same thing at work here full-time, where we plan drills, exercises, where we simulate something happening to the plants, and we see how people react to, say, when there's something that wasn't planned, go beyond design basis, and if there's a meltdown, how they react. So it's a lot of fun, and it's certainly an honor being able to work there, and certainly a lot of things to learn. It's been a huge learning curve. I've been in this new position now for 2 years, and there is a lot of reading. So I spend most of my day either in the plant looking at technical information and different documents and working with other people that are way smarter than me, and then just evaluating and taking notes and improving the performance of the team. So that's kind of what we do with Mad Hatter Industries as well. We started with a small group of advocates working on different mental health initiatives. Similar to yourself, we like to stay active. I think physical fitness is a big part of mental health, and the same thing is what you're feeding in your mind and what you're putting in your body, that equals your output. So it certainly affects your moods. When I was on the teams, we did a lot of shift work, and I found that really tough over the long term. Yes. Different things, if you weren't eating right or sleeping properly, it really affects your moods and how you think. Specifically around this time of year, as things start getting more colder, the days getting shorter. But we started this as an initiative. I lost a few friends to suicide, and I'm sure those that are in the forces probably know a few who have as well. But the last member that we lost had no idea there's anything wrong, and then fortunately his family found him the next day. And those essentially are experiences we want to avoid continuing with the military and overall with our frontline community, our members. Mental health is really an important aspect. And in terms of performance, we want to help people realize there's other options. Some of us have been there and thought about suicide as an option, but never took that step because we were able to get the help we needed. We certainly advocate for professional help, but we're there on the side to help get you to where you need. We're that kind of push towards the door. Maybe it's a cup of coffee on the front porch or beer in the garage to have that conversation and discuss what's needed, or at least get you talking. And a lot of our apparel and design is focused around that. So Memento Mori, or the no quarter given you're wearing right now, that's essentially our motto, which is about suicide prevention. No way would you allow suicide as an option or to rule your life. The anxieties you deal with, you cast it overboard. It's kind of like a pirate metaphor, right? You have your ship, which is yourself, and you float it out in the waters of life. Every day you have these demons you deal with, and you cast them aside. You say no quarter given. You're not going to allow your life to be ruled by these demons that battle you every day. You just throw it overboard and fill your ship with people that you look up to and aspire, like-minded individuals, and you just plot your destination and try and hold fast and stay true. But that no quarter given is ultimately about suicide prevention, creating a community of people that will not allow suicide as an option, and then continuing on with your day. But there's a lot of different designs we have. You mentioned the Memento Mori, and that was a really, I like that one. And there's two different designs we did in that. And it was basically about a Roman general. The story goes anyways. The story was that there's a Roman general taking a part of a ceremony after celebrating a great victory. And as he was going through the streets celebrating and everyone was praising his works, there was a beggar that whispered as he went by, Memento Mori. And that was just to warn him that all things will pass and to remember that he too will die. So it's to make the most of everything. The inevitability of death is something we all must be faced with at the end, which is a reaffirmation of why it's important to make the most out of every day, live the most, and never to allow yourself to succumb to the demons that may drag you down. It's a reminder that you make the most out of every day. And each kind of story and design that we have has some sort of mental health sort of focus. The Inner Demons, which we just released, is really about what we battle with inside. And I do happen to be a motorcycle enthusiast. Been in a club now for almost 10 years. And that's something I think a lot of veterans gravitate towards too. After you get back from overseas, you miss that connection with the boys, the girls on patrol, and you just get out on that bike. Sometimes it's great to just get on your own. You get that wind therapy, but it's really about finding your own passion and living your own adventures. So we try to help people get towards what it is they're passionate about. And that's really where the brand has evolved to. It started as a mental health initiatives focused based company just on suicide prevention. But now we get towards looking to help people work on what they love to do and get them there and maybe give them the tools. Like next year, we have our free fall course scheduled with Parachute Ottawa, and we're looking to get a veteran out the door, help sponsor them. We've done a lot of collaborations with Arrowhead Coffee, and we're looking to get into the community and help where we can. Coffee with Comrades is a great initiative that just started with Bush Wookie and a few other great brands. All this stuff, yeah, Len's been a huge mentor with the community. We all have a lot of respect for him and what he's done and his hardworking ethic, right? So,
right, which is one of the things that to kind of jump in here, because that's a good thing to highlight, Corey, because like you said, your bio was just saying that when you're working at the nuclear plant, which I actually did a talk to, the one up north a little bit, I think Durham. Is there one in Durham? Is that the town over in Ontario?
So Durham, Ontario, we have Darlington Nuclear, and then Pickering as well. I work for both those plants. Yeah.
Right. So I went and did a fundraiser up there for a wounded warrior, and we did such a good night. And the tour that I got of the plant, just to kind of tack on to what you had said, is that I didn't know how much work went into the clean energy that we're producing in the nuclear plants. And it's not what you hear about, and because you only hear about the disasters, but at all times around the world, there's nuclear power going on that's very clear, very clean power, and everything's working fine and everything's good. And you also have the tactical team. Tied on to that, you still brought on what the military taught you, which you said, I'm going to create this apparel, which is what I want to talk to you about today. And, because of the name, we all know that your name is Corey Hatt, but Mad Hatter, which goes with mental health. I got so many questions around that, which is awesome. Maybe we should start there and then talk about the group that you're saying, because I have a motorcycle as well, and I love riding. And, and meeting with the guys and girls and going for that ride is exactly what we're looking for, that we're missing when we get out of the military. But let's first, why Mad Hatter? What was, obviously your name, I get it, but if you can explain to people why Mad Hatter.
So Mad Hatter started essentially as a nickname. Originally, it became Hatter. Like when I was during my workup training in 2005, it was always Hatter. And then Mad Hatter just kind of came out of some experiences that happened overseas. I was a machine gunner, and machine gunners have the role and responsibility of essentially protecting the platoon. And then sometimes things get a little crazy in battle, things get a little intense, and people could say angry or aggressive. When you treat your machine gun, it's not meant to be handled delicately, right? So Mad Hatter kind of came out of a nickname out of a few patrols that happened, and the nickname just kind of stuck. And I ended up getting a name tag that I think I ordered off CP Gear in tan, brought it over with me, and I put it on my uniform. And I was opening the gate for one of the generals one day, just because one of the duties we had in 06, we do a little bit of everything. And I was with a group of MPs. We were attached to what was originally a close support platoon. So we go out every day. We drive out into the streets and escort different vehicles, different areas. We also respond to QRF attacks. So if there's an attack in the city, which really happened the first week on ground, and we lost Braun and a couple other of the folks, it just pretty much, there's probably something every week. But we were also seconded to Charles' company as well for Op Medusa. And then I went with a platoon called the Crazy Eights for Op Baztuka. And each event that we went through just kind of escalated. There was just a lot going on in 306. And one of the funny stories with the nickname I had, it ended up becoming a name tag that I put on my uniform. And General Hillier ended up looking at it. He's like, "Oh, Mad Hatter, I like that. That's a good name." And kind of stuck. So
of all generals, Rick Hillier is the best one to have around you.
Yeah, I call him Uncle Rick.
So. Yeah, he's very awesome. He's one of the most personable general I've ever had to interact with.
Yeah, I was really shocked at how good his memory is. He still remembered the fact that crazy kid with the name tag and the kid that he met at Camp Nathan Smith. We were be able to just come in for Christmas. We pulled in just I think the day of, it was Christmas Day when we wrapped up Baztuka. We just kind of booked it back to Camp Nathan Smith. So he happened to show up and give us a little surprise, which is really cool. I had a lot of respect for him and a lot of the generals. Omar Lavoie was an excellent leader, and I was on the QRF call, and we responded to the attack on Bobby and Stormy, and that was really rough. And I went on HLTA with Stormy actually to Thailand. So that's a whole other story in itself. And I won't go into details about how I lost my wallet or passport, but it was, we had a good adventure.
Let's keep it kosher and keep it in the, because, going with Mad Hatter, I can just imagine, because on my first tour, I also went to Thailand, and we'll leave it at that. So, but the thing is that, so let's come back to, what made you, because you're still serving, obviously, and you still got a full-time job, what made you decide to start an apparel company? Right? Because I had the experience of starting one years ago. Obviously, it didn't go anywhere because I had no clue what I was doing. And, and it is quite the competitive industry. So take us to the thinking and the plan that you set up for yourself of wanting to have an apparel company. Run us through that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I kind of call it building an airplane. While full industries kind of came from independent industries and Thrasher, when I used to like read skateboard magazines back when Vice magazine used to be a magazine and out of Montreal. I love the imagery, and a lot of friends that I have were very artistic, including my family. So I'd always draw and sketch, and that kind of just came naturally where I'd always have ideas. And I was a big t-shirt fan, because when you're overseas, you have that nice, comfortable t-shirt that's under the uniform that everyone basically just wears out until there's nothing left. And the no quarter shirt you're wearing is essentially meant to mimic that. We want it to be something that you can put your trust in a brand, and that we have your back, but also something you love wearing.
And that's why I got it, just by the way, because it was the same one as the olive drab that we used to wear all the time. I miss those t-shirts, and that's why I ordered it, right? And why not wear the gear that's going to bring you? Because I believe in state, in which I think we can bring to that is that, if I understand correctly, is that you're saying we love the t-shirts. I still have my airborne t-shirt from my airborne course, just by the way, which is over almost 30 years old. And I still have it. I only bring it out in case of emergency because it's the bulletproof shirt. But the thing is that it does create a state. I ordered this shirt of no quarters given because I know what it means. And I also know what it meant for us we're not going to give out anything to our demons and to all these things. And it does instill in me the willingness to work out in my gym at home and to crush it and to still put on, people say, because I walked around with my tack vests, right? The 511 tack weight vest for CrossFit. But some people see that when you're walking in the woods and this is so violent, or this is so, and it's not, no, I'm just in the same mindset because that gets me through my day today. I need to do that. And I think that is just to bring the audience onto the loop of what you're saying, of what these t-shirts mean to us. And I think if that's what is representing when I see your brand, everything, what you're putting on social media, what you're getting with the network of, Len, Jody, myself, the guys that are out there doing something different to kind of just bring them back together as a team after the forces.
Yeah, well, I just laughed earlier when you said how you love the olive drab. I literally have a drawer with just olive drab shirts, and I started making those. I handmade those, and I also handwrite the letters because I wanted it as a thank you for the community in supporting the development of our brand, because we wouldn't be able to do the initiatives we do without the support from people like yourselves and Jody and those that support our brand. And it's great. It's great tying in the community like that. Everyone's been really helpful, and it is a way to tie in after service, or even those that are still actively involved. I happen to kind of just be really busy in a little bit of everything, but that was something I love to do. And I found it very therapeutic in myself, in the service of helping others, and also just creating the design of the shirts. It's a very simple concept. That was actually the cross pistols is a tribute to the history I have with the military police. That goes on our badge, on our dress uniform, right on our arm. So those cross pistols, that's our unit identifier. And the no quarter given was something that I thought about after a few drinks and thinking about what was going on in my life and where people had gone down a dark road, how I could help kind of spread that message and hopefully make some change. But also, it's a badass shirt. It's meant to make people bring out the best in themselves, work out a little bit harder, or just do what they can. And we do those things as well, where we have challenges. Right now I'm on 75 hard. So I've done it. This is more than the second time. The only thing I think really miss is a lack of alcohol, but it gets easier every time you do it. Like we did a photo shoot this weekend, and I had the non-alcoholic beer just kind of there, and it almost was like the same thing really. But it's when you have yourself with the right community and they're all supportive, you don't even notice the the adversity that you're going through. It's still there in the background, but it certainly is a lot easier with the right people. And it's great to have like big brothers that you can kind of pick their brain on. Like I'll try and get out to see Jody pretty much whenever I'm in Ottawa, or if he's coming by, I'll try to get out to wherever he's at, but he's always kind of in the background providing that advice. And, you know, he's gone through similar things that we've all gone through, and to the upteenth, everyone has a different story to tell and great experience to bring forward to the community. And I think this is what's so beneficial with Instagram and these businesses that are coming out. It really ties everyone in, and all these younger brands too. Like say you have Cleared Hatt. I didn't know a lot about them. Corporal for Life kind of is involved in a little bit of everything. So I noticed that they'd shared something, and I just kind of caught on to their media and saw how savvy they were. And really interesting to see how everybody has a different flavor in what they do. And their focus as well is very similar, and that you can see where their passion lies with skydiving, fast cars, and being relevant to changing the Army. You know?
And it does bring out the fact that I believe the reason why the military is so successful is the way that they condition everybody, which is the best conditioning on this planet to do what needs to be done, but also because we all have a different flavor. We bring a different flavor, especially as you make it up in the higher tiers of teams, and then you start getting to the smaller teams and the more specific. I find that that's when you really shine, when you bring your own flavor. And I find that what you're saying, just to, once again, to bring in the audience, is that each and every one of us, like you're saying, we're talking about Jody Minich here and Lindert and you know, everything that we're doing is that we all have a different story. We went through a struggle. We went through you know, hard times, and we continue to do so that everybody's very transparent. Everybody's got their on and off days. But the thing is that what I find inspiring is that when I'm down, you guys are up. When you guys are down, I'm up. And we kind of take on that flame around and saying, hey, you know what? I know we're having a hard time, but, you know, we're still putting out some good feels out there and making sure that we're not leaving anybody behind. We're still having the conversation about, yeah, you know what? Mental health is a really, really important thing, especially with everything that's going on today. And we reach out. For you, it was apparel, which I really, really loved. Like you brought in Corporal for Life, which I also bought from. You know, it's all these kind of companies that I see what they're doing, and I try to be incognito, but you caught me about ordering without saying anything. I'm just going to order, support the business, see how they're doing things. And guys, this is what the important, what I found that Corey did really well. He did send me a personally handwritten letter, which rarely happens these days. I used to do that for my apparel company as well, and for my gym, which was a very, very big success. So that's really cool. He sent me a bunch of stickers, kind of like, you know, anything that gets you to be involved within the brand. And like I said, if you're, we're going to leave the links down below for his social media, because I highly recommend it. It's really, really well done. It gets you involved, and you want to be part of that team. This is what it is. So even though I'm on the opposite coast, on the West Coast, we're still very close. Even though we don't talk every day, we're keeping tabs, making sure people are working out. We're putting out some good stuff, because somewhere out there, there's a veteran or there's somebody that needs to hear a message. Whether it comes from Corey, from Jody, from Bruno, from Len, from somebody like we talked about. Len, he's a very good mentor. He's very good in business. He helps us out, and we all help each other out in different. And I think that's what I pick up from Matt Hatter's industry about your apparel company and what you're doing out there is bringing everything up. So if people are asking, what are some of the first kind of pitfalls that you fell into starting this? How do you get yourself to be known? You know, where did you first kind of posted that you were doing this kind of deal, right? For the guys and the girls that are out there trying to start their business, what's you know, they're still working full time most of the time, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah. I think we first started posting on Instagram, and that's probably where 90% of our traffic goes and it comes from. But we also reached out to a lot of people who had done it before. One of my best friends happens to be Nick from Tactical Beaver. So I had talked to him about what I was interested in doing. He had a lot of advice, and I tried my best to follow a lot of it.
And yeah,
that's right. Boots.
Yeah, that was my first, believe it or not, my first veteran owned apparel t-shirt and ball cap that I bought, Incognito.
Yeah, that was a badass brand. And I felt,
Yeah.
he did a great job. It's too bad it's not around. He's been really busy, with ATAC and other adventures.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows anything about boots, he goes all into everything he does. But over a bottle of whiskey, I was able to make a deal on how to learn how to silk screen and also buy his old rig as he was transitioning and pivoting into another business. And it's really, a cool piece of history to have. The tactical beavers, I think, always going to be in everyone's back minds in terms of veteran apparel. What's done really well. Both Nick and his wife, gorgeous, beautiful people, and just really nice. They just want to help, and that's what Nick did to help me get going. I've also reached out to brands that are not necessarily veteran related and got a lot of advice from them, and got some experience from people that have run the old brand Metal Militia. And I have a lot of mentors that I look up to. One specifically in the motorcycle industry, and that kind of gravitated me towards how to develop and mature my brand. And there's a lot about advice being said, and when it's given to you, taking the time to listen and digest. A lot of us in the military, we aggressively go at things, and even though we know we should wait to do stuff, we want to get it done like tomorrow. You want as many followers as Corporal for Life for this or that. And what you got to realize is, and this is one of the advice that one of my friends from the Hill told me, focus where your feet are at and follow the process. Get really good at doing things well, and then things become smooth and faster. So it's really not about looking ahead and seeing, why am I not there? It's focusing on what you're doing today to get to where you need, enjoying the process and refining that process, doing it really well before you move into the next step, and having the patience as well to mature a brand. It takes a lot of time and a lot of work, but you really got to enjoy it. And Gary Vee's another person I look up to, and he talks really about the hustle and the process, just enjoying what you were doing. And even if you weren't getting paid, if you were still enjoying it, that's kind of where the sweet spot is of where you found something you're probably going to enjoy doing and make money out of. Because regardless, say you didn't need any money anymore, if you still wanted to do it, you're probably in the right business in that case. And that's how I feel with what we do with t-shirts and design. I really love to see the reaction of people's faces when I put something out, from concept to artwork to production, once it's fully come out, and then we've done all the media round on it. It's cool to see if it hits or not. And sometimes it doesn't quite hit how we thought, so we're always refining and changing the process, but it's being susceptible and open to feedback. And I'll say it first that I don't do everything right. Maybe I am a little stubborn, but I'm open to understanding and learning. I'm always acting, and I'm always asking for active feedback and acting on that, so I can change and improve the process. And if there's any ever need for improvement, I know I'm the first person, like when it comes to workouts, techniques for lifting the bar, even jiu-jitsu, getting yourself out of the choke or the guard. There's always ways to improve things, and often you don't even need a lot of strength to do that. It's the subtlety in things. So that's been really beneficial for me.
And I think that comes from our military to always, we were given so much feedback, even when we didn't want it. And then we did realize, that constructive feedback was actually with the interest that they wanted us to get better. And it was something that we kind of take on. And you did bring on some Gary Vee. I think that Gary Vee's got some really good advice. First of all, my favorite video of him is this video he did on Monday. I'm going to make Monday my bitch. Pardon my French here, but that was a really good video. If nobody's seen that, it's pretty good. He is very good about, I do believe in the fact that if you enjoy what you're doing, you'll do it for free. That's actually when I'm coaching executive or I'm coaching other people, I ask them, if you could do anything 24/7, 365 without getting paid, that would get you up in the morning, would that be? And they come out with whatever answer. And I said, that's what you should do, right? Alan Watts actually has a really good speech on it about, people say, oh, you don't make money if you like horses or whatever. He says, do that first, the money will come after. And I think that's coupled with what you said of having the constructive feedback and willing to put yourself out there, which is often not attached to it, because people say, follow your passion, but then there's no follow-up with that. Your passion is only going to take you so far, guys. But the thing is that if you actually put in the work and you're going to have, you're going to fall on your face, you're going to eat some dirt, you're going to get back up and keep going at it. And I think that's the things that aren't always being passed on. And that's why on the Battle Plan podcast, I want to have these discussions about what walls did you hit? What these things? You mentioned that you went for mentoring, you still have your mentors, which is so important. Guys, you need to have a mentor, whoever that is. Find a person, because most of the people that are doing it and are doing it well don't mind mentoring. If you show up on time, you take your own time, you really value their time when they do dish out the mentorship. But you're right about this. Sometimes, we want to do it on our own. And I don't know if it's a pride thing or if it's what do you think it is? What do you think that sometimes we stand a little bit too long on that ledge before asking for help? Because that comes through mental health as well.
Yeah, I think it's different for everyone. For me, it was ego. I had a very hard time admitting that I needed help, even though there was some obvious signs with alcohol and other things. And, to my detriment, it took a long time. And it's a maturity factor as well. There's a factor there that it requires you to take the actions necessary to get the help you need. And that's where people can only do so much. And we also understand that with our own company, we can help and motivate people. In fact, MHI, when you think of Mad Hatter Industries, what it should also incorporate when it comes to people's minds is mental health initiatives. So it's why we changed that logo. It's more all encompassing, but it's also to motivate, help, and inspire. And we can do that. We can help people and motivate them, but it's up to them to go through the door, take the help that they need. So they have to be humble enough to realize when they need help. And it's not a contest. Everyone has their own path and their own timeline to things. And just like mental health, there's no set type of treatment timeline or amount of money that fixes things. It's different for everyone. Everyone needs to find what inspires them independently. It's not the same for everyone. For me, it's motorcycles. If I could ride or find a way to get paid to work on motorcycles and ride them every day, that would be a big part of my life. Like, at least I get on the bike until there's snow. And then when there is, I still find a way, but it's definitely like something where you have to find your passion.
You have to come and move to Victoria, because we can ride our motorcycle pretty much almost all year long. Except for a few weeks. Yeah, exactly.
Some great people out there.
Yeah. So just on that, right? To reach out and to find those things that work for us. And like you're saying, like nobody's got their stuff together. Everybody's got a time where they're going through and they're relying on this. Like I was saying earlier, each and every one of us is holding a torch within the veterans community, within, the community out there, saying, hey, whichever day you're having, one of us has a message of what we're doing when we're down or whatever. Personally, myself in this studio, I don't know if people know that this is my gym over there, and I got the Peloton tread and I jump on there, and I've been in the industry for 34 years. I still like coaching. I still like people telling me what to do, because it takes away this thing. I can think about everything. I can do my workout and not think about it. And a lot of people kind of get wrapped around about the fact, what type of workout should I do? And they spend so much time wondering what they should do instead of just doing something. And I think
just get active and move.
Just active and move. Doesn't matter if you're walking to me. It doesn't matter all these things. And that's what I love about your apparel company. That's what I love about, Arrowhead Coffee. That's what I love about us just being out there, say, hey, just do something, whatever that is, and I think that that's what I like to wear, your shirt, no quarters given, when I'm having a hard time, because I'm said, you demons aren't going to win today. And I'm going to get on that does that for me. Right. And I think that that's really well represented in the apparel. So what's the next step for you? Right. What's the next step for Corey or Mad Hatters for that matter? Or are you looking at retiring from the power plant? Are you What's happening?
Yeah, in 18 years. So it's funny you mention that. There's always something going on. And when I tell my friends where we're going, what we're doing, they have no idea what's wrong with me. They're like, why would you add something else on your plate? And really like what it is. And I guess they do have a point. At some point, I think I counted like I had associations to like 7 different clubs and had 3 jobs at one point. But where I want to take Mad Hatter Industries, I'm looking into a master's program in psychotherapy. So Mad Hatter Industries essentially will become a service where we provide that the therapy, the professionalized therapy. As I get certified, I've gone through the mental health first aid. I just found I needed to do more. There wasn't, I knew a lot of the stuff that was already saying. So I was looking to get more deep into the cause behind things. And that's also where we've evolved the brand to evolutionalizing. And you'll see that in the spring as we move out our spring line, where things will change, where it's getting more towards dealing with what the problem is at hand, where people get down to those paths that lead them to depression. We want to go right to that problem. And that's kind of a natural evolution for where the brand is, because the shirts really aren't necessarily the product. You buy the shirt and you wear it, and that's an added benefit, but it's the message that's being spread with each design. So we say the apparel is actually a bonus. It's a great way to spread that idea, but really it's about the community and how we support one another and look out for each other. We have our brothers and sisters' backs in time of need, and it's about inspiring and motivating each other to overcome whatever adversity we face. And that could be anxiety you have from stepping out the door every day, depression. We've all been there, and everybody has an ebb and a flow. Nothing's ever a steady state. And sometimes we have flashbacks. For me, it was a lot more fresher when I was in Barbados. I was doing some private contracting, and things were still very fresh from the tour and the experiences we went through. And there'd be sounds of somebody cutting some sugar cane. To me, it would sound like an AK-47 being racked, or it'd smell like a fire burning, and it smelled like one of the houses maybe we'd bombed or were going into. But it's essentially what we're trying to do is above and beyond helping not just ourselves, helping each other, raise each other up. So you've probably heard that famous adage. So the saying is, a rising tide lifts all boats. So as the tide rises, all boats that are floating go higher and higher. And it's not about one boat going higher than the other. It's about raising everyone and building up our community, helping each other out. And it's not just veterans. It's not just first responders. We're talking about everybody that just basically wants to help and better themselves. That's really what we're all about. And it's a broad-based initiative. And how do you get down that path? Well, it's through several different aspects. We have ambassadors, we have influencers. Everyone works together and reaching out and finding where we can help, expanding the story and the mission, and diversifying in different areas, and also getting those certifications. So for me, it started with the Sentinel training we have with the military. I became Sentinel trained. And then I got into working with the diversity and inclusion committee at work, human performance initiatives, and then the mental health first aid, working with CAMH through different charity initiatives. And that's kind of what led me to the path now to where I'm at the point of applying for that master's program. It'll take 8 years. I don't really care how long it takes. I just want to actively educate and pursue my interests in helping with mental health and getting to that point where maybe a couple people a month I'll help, or a couple people a week. So when I retire, I'll just keep busy. I'm not going to stop.
That's a good intention you have there. Only a couple of a people a month or something like that. It's going to be full. It's going to be a full shelf. Corey, you're doing 100 million things at the same time. I think that's how we stay busy. There's never a shortage of people to help. I think that's the same thing. Every time I say I'm going to take a break and just look after myself, the phone goes off the hook. We just did, the W5 episode went out on psychedelics, right? Ketamine assisted psychotherapy that we did that veterans are getting. It was life-changing for me. And so, but the thing is now the phone is off the hook because people are wanting to see, what's happening. Once again, it's just another arm of what we can do and the avenues that the veterans are out there trying themselves to put themselves out the front, because we lead from the front and we never leave anybody behind. And to hear that now you want to dedicate your next 8 years of yourself to go and get that master's in psychotherapy, that is just mind blowing to me. That's just dedication right there. Once again, let's tack on something else. And so how do you personally keep your mental health going when you're that busy, right? Because like you said, I know that you do have those down, and then we both had our battles with alcohol, and we no longer look at that, and so that's not part of my life anymore. But now, what do you do? I work out. We mostly said that, but what are the things that you might not be at the forefront of everybody's thoughts when you're struggling, and how do you manage all that?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, I'm always looking for improvement area. My own mental health is probably something that needs improvement. Like, it's easy to get stressed and to go down a path thus optimized where you should be doing things, going to bed early at night, getting your 8.5 hours. That doesn't happen. To me, it's my balance. There is no balance. 100% into one thing and then the other and then the other thing. But I guess with age and experience, it's really having the right people in your life that focus and balance you. Having a family, starting a family was something that completely changed my perspective and really made me happy, because I realized it's not about me, it's about helping others. And then having 2 kids where you're entirely focused on their development really makes you realize how important it is in, investing in yourself, still being around. Like the concept of suicide, is it's people have a different opinion. So it's those that have been down and have considered that and have been at the bottom of that barrel or down that dark road understand how easy it is to get down there, how easy it is to make that decision. But there's something unique when you come back from it and you decide not to, and the reasons why. There are people that just don't understand that it's a disease, and it's not an easily treatable disease, but it's something that should be considered as a mental illness. And there are things that we can do to help others instead of just judge them and shun them. It has to be openly talked about and discussed and actively brought out in terms of what we can do to help and what help they need to get them talking about it. But for my mental health, it's always just something that I have to keep on the forefront, and it's lead by example. So before this podcast, I was just out in the rain doing a 45-minute walk with a pack, and I got another workout afterwards. That's not something that needs to be done for everyone, but it's just getting active and doing what's right for you at your own pace. And moderation is really key, but it's good to push yourself and set goals. Like, we do have the upcoming ruck for 22 kilometers on November 6th. We have a little group doing it with us. It's nice to have those things to look forward to. And I'm a big believer in doing things that scare you with the right amount of safety involved. Like, I'm doing my free fall course, and I've been talking to some of the my assaulter friends, being like, I don't know how you guys did that. I'm terrified. I did a jump. I've done 6 jumps and it still terrifies me. I haven't done the free fall course, but I've done like the instructor assisted shoot where it basically pops out behind you. You just step out on the Cessna and arch. I never did the airborne course, but it's just something I have a huge amount of respect for and always wanted to do. And it's always something I laugh about with the guys, because I'm like, all the crazy things you've done, it still baffles me that you enjoy doing that. And it's something I committed to doing.
If you talk to anybody that does jump out and these things, even the guys from the hills and all these things, they're going to tell you, and that's an old adage that's always been said. If anybody tells you they're not scared when they jump out of that plane, no matter how they make it look, if you don't have that little kind of, is the chute going to open? Is something right? You're not thinking about that, obviously, because you're minded on whatever the mission, whether you're doing a military or jumping for fun. The thing is that there's always been scared. And even the old guys were like, they're all night jumps. As in, when you jump, your eyes are closed and all these things, right? So it's just normal. That's not a normal thing for humans to do, to jump out of a plane. No. So it doesn't matter whether you do it with the military or you do it with the other stuff. I'm going to tell you, every time you get off, your pump and you're in the plane and you're hooked up and you're ready to go, when that light turns green, there is a feeling that goes inside of you. Oh shit, this is it. Right. And you're getting out of the plane, and you're out of the plane and you get to the ground, and it's never fun, because I'm going to tell you that jumping in the military is like landing. It's like jumping off a 10 second story building every time when you land. So basically, it hurts every single time that you land, and it's not fun. That's the non-fun part of the whole thing. And that's why I got a broken back from it, because I landed in trees. But the thing is that the fact that that is the thing in your head that's saying, hey, I'm worried about this, is so applicable to business and to life. Once again, is saying, I'm scared, but I want to do it because I want to understand. I want to master this fear. I want to master what's kind of holding me back. And for you right now, that's jumping out of the plane or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that you could relate it to business or how do you approach life sometimes.
Oh, 100%. And that's why I went with Parachute Ottawa. I know the guys that go there and girls, they're, to me, a hugely professional group. I've done it before and I've studied everything about it. So it's a very calculated process of risk mitigation. You look at the process, the procedures you do with the best equipment, with the best people, and then you learn the process. And that's purely the reason why I went there, because I know the reputation through there. They've reached out to me. They're like a family, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So why would I let fear hold me back? If I did do that, I never would have gone to Afghanistan. I never would have climbed the mountain in the Himalayas, where we did Island Peak at 21,000 feet. I never would have got my dive master course and gone to Barbados and been 200 feet underwater. Like, those are things you wouldn't do. And none of those things do I regret. I don't regret anything. In fact, the only thing I probably would regret is if I didn't do those experiences and really live things to the most. And that's really kind of what we try and embody with the brand. It's live your own adventure. And it doesn't necessarily mean doing all those things. It means finding what you love and living your own adventure and finding that passion. So,
and that's what we're going to close up with, is basically, what advice do you have for anybody out there that is in the situation that you were a few years ago, or they're just thinking about either starting their business, going back to school, transitioning out of the military, or even if they're not in the military? What's one of the piece of advice you think that can encapsulate how to, reach out for the next level here?
I would say just go for it. And first and foremost, don't bother with comparing yourself to others. You're going to not have the joy in what you love doing as much if you're always looking at what other people are doing and asking yourself why you're not as successful or there's not as many followers. That's not important. What's really something that matters is you finding your passion in what you love doing. And if you don't know what it is, then try things out. It's great to work with your hands and get physical. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be hard. Your workouts don't have to be where you're doing a Murph, as fast as you can every time with full weight. It's fun, but you got to sometimes work into it. But
fastest Murph full weight was 51 minutes, I think, back in the days.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was, and no, I don't. When people talk about Murph, for those of you who don't know, Murph is a 1.5 mile run with 300, with a 25-pound vest, 300 squats, 200 push-ups, and 100 pull-ups, and a 1.5 mile run again to the end of that. You have to do that as fast as possible. So Corey, so that's the advice that you would give. Just go out there, get it done, and just, try it out. Basically, eat some dirt, fall on your face, get back up, reach out.
Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is actually a good thing. And
yeah,
I've learned a lot from being denied certain things. I applied to a lot of jobs when I was looking to get to the job where I'm at now, and I got denied from my management side of things, but everything taught me something else, and it's to never give up. You always learn from mistakes that you make, but also don't be afraid to fail. If you make mistakes, which I probably do daily, it's about learning from them and applying those lessons that you learn to improve and hone the axe, make things sharper.
Yeah, I agree with that, man, because you know what? I always remember Brian Tracy to say, everybody's got a magical number out there. He says, if I told you that it's going to take 347 tries for you to get to $1 million, or to the success, or to reach that gold medal, or to whatever, what would you do? That on number 348, you would get that gold medal or reach the next level. You would fail as fast as possible, that 347 times. The only thing is we don't have that magical number, right? So we got to keep at it. And I think that once again, it's good training from the military. So what you did mention earlier about one of the best advice that you received from your friends from over the hill, but what's another one, another best advice that you've gotten from someone, from a mentor, that really kind of made a difference for you?
Don't be afraid to fail. Learn the process, love what you're doing. And then an analogy that I like is there is something that was shown. It's basically an old school stonemason. They're working on breaking this rock, and on the 1001st hit, the rock breaks in half. But all those hits up to it, nothing happened. So when you don't see any results happening, you just keep chipping away at whatever it is that you're doing. And, you know, the idea of where maybe it's not going to work starts creeping in your mind. You got to put that away and just keep focusing on the process and refining that process. And you may not be seeing the results that you want right away, but understand that there are results underneath there. It's like planting a seed. When those roots grow and expand before that shoot pops out of the ground, like cracking that rock, it takes that 1001st hit. Well, it takes 1,000 hits beforehand. So keep trying and doing what you're doing and perfecting and working on that. And if you think you're failing and it's never going to succeed, well, then you're going to end up ultimately making that happen. And inevitability, you got to think positively and flip it around that it will happen. With the right mindset, it is achievable. With the wrong mindset, you're going to achieve where your mind is going. So you need to focus on exactly where you want and what you want to do, and it will happen. And just don't give up in what you're doing.
It's exactly that, right? The old adage, I think there's a book out there called 3 Feet from Goal. Right, for the people that, you know, that guy that was digging and he said, that's it, I'm not finding any gold, and sold the gold mine and everything, and somebody said, oh no, there's the vein right there, he was 3 feet away from it, and then they hit it big, right? So we see that a lot of time. Yeah. And the Airbnb guys, I think I listened to a podcast from them, and they said, oh, you guys were an overnight success, and they said, yeah, 20 years in the making. You know, like nobody sees those 1,000 hits on that rock, and that's what's happening, especially with social media these days. What's one of the habits you would say contributes to your success?
It sounds cheesy, but I make my bed every day. First thing when I wake up, it's just that one habit. And it's exactly what Admiral McRaven talks about. And it's one of those positive actions that happen that sets in motion a series of other positive actions. And at the end of the day, no matter how shitty your day is, you're going home to a nicely made bed. And for me, it's also a peace of mind where it just clears the mind and kind of de-stresses and puts it at ease. But it's one of those many tasks that I set forward, and I'm really enjoying the whole process of going through this new challenge with the act of reading, like physically reading. And I would add to the fact that you should reflect every day on what you could do to improve, but also empower yourself with those thoughts of positivity. Think 3 things positive that you're grateful for each day, whether it be at the beginning or the end. It's a really great way to set and end the day. If you can do it both at the beginning and the end, even better. But that's something that's hugely transformational for me. And it sets my attitude in the right gear and really makes ripples throughout. And I'm sure that impacts other people. You're going to affect people a lot more positively, smiling at them through the day than you would scowling. And you have no idea what a smile will do to somebody or how it might change their lives.
So one of my favorite experiments, actually, when I go to a Starbucks or something like that, or the grocery store, to smile to the person, and if they have a name tag, to call them by their name. And that's when the eyes rise, right? Because they'll be just at their cash doing their thing, and hey, Mary, how's your day going? And they go, oh, hey, wow. Or somebody's taking 2 seconds to wonder how I do. That's the difference, I think, that you mean, that what it makes. And then you did talk about your growth and reading and stuff like that. What is one of the growth resources that you go to, right, when you want to learn? And you were talking about leveling up and always looking for how to improve myself on a daily. What are your go-tos?
Well, a lot of podcasts. I think I actively read. Dale Carnegie's a big author that I look into a lot, that I'll revisit. Like he has a lot of good books. Basically, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living is one book that I'm reading. A big fan of Timothy Ferriss, and it's all about mindset. The 4-hour work week is really a hack in towards moving things and shifting the dynamic of how you should structure your own lifestyle. It may not be a 4-hour work week, but it talks about different ways to accommodate what your ideal lifestyle is like. And then really it helps you think about what it is that you truly want to find in life, that you want to do, and realize that it's not too far away. It's not unachievable. I don't know why people spend so much time being miserable doing things that they don't like doing. And I don't think that it's necessarily everyone's lifestyle where they want to drive from their bed to their car to their desk where they're sitting all day to their couch to repeat for the next 30 years. That's not ideal. And I think there's a lot of things you can incorporate to make things a little bit more enjoyable, whether it be going out for a walk, reading, talking, and surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, or just signing up for a course to actively develop yourself or find a new experience. But there's different ways to go about that.
Because I don't think that anybody they were growing up saying, you know what I'm going to do is an average job, 9 to 5. And I want to sit on the couch and watch TV all the time and just do that for the rest of my life for 30 years, right? Nobody grows up that way, but somewhere in the middle of it, it does happen. And I believe is because of growth and contribution. People forget to keep learning. I think
it's really easy to become comfortable and complacent. We know what happens overseas. Complacency kills. So you have to be adapting and changing and constantly questioning. I really respect people that will do a complete shift and follow their passion. Like my sensei left his job after 30 years to just fully teach jiu-jitsu all day. And I don't know how well that pays, probably not very well, but I respect the passion in it. It's, not for everyone, but you really got to find what it is that you love, and you can still do it while also maintaining a full-time career. That's, exceptional. It's just, you got to find what the right balance is for you. And it's all about timing too. Like you plan 5, 10, 15 years. As I organize my platoon, I have plans for developing my junior leadership, my senior leadership. And to be a good leader, you really have to have the transparency of communicating what your intentions are, being open and honest, and also not having anyone do anything you wouldn't do yourself. So whenever I get the chance, if I'm putting up, if my troops are putting up A-frames and we're stretching out mod tent, I'm there where I can. I'm doing the same thing because I wouldn't ask them to do it if I couldn't do it or wouldn't do it myself. And then bringing in a level of realism and training. Yeah, you want to be right beside them. And it's why we serve our members before ourselves, right? True leadership is about service. And there's a lot of positives in the military. I know people are going to talk negatively in terms of how they view the leadership and what's been happening recently, but they need to remember what it's brought them. It's helped them exceed and achieve things that could have never been done before. And in terms of mental health, I think there's a lot of positives in terms of what the military does that breeds in that mental resiliency. It allows you to do things you never thought you could have done, like wake up and stay awake for a 2 to 4 a.m. fire picket, or go out on patrol 12 kilometers and
stay up for 5 days.
Heat. Yeah.
So, people say you can do that. Oh yeah, I know I can. Trust me, I know I can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you push your body to new like measures where you never even imagine, but also have the best experiences with people that completely different backgrounds, unique, diverse, and they're your brothers and sisters. And that's what it's all about. It's a family experience that really raises one another up. And that's a mission that you find.
It's what I love. It's what I miss. And it's what I seek, with guys like yourself and all these things, because we all have a piece of the puzzle. And I think that when we do have these chats, right, like this podcast, or when we, talk to each other, or we through social media, whatever that is, everybody's got a piece of that puzzle that we need that day or whatever that is. So, you know what, Corey, this has been an amazing, amazing chat with you. You've dropped some golden nuggets and everything on, how you run your business, how you go through your days and everything. I'm going to end up with a really easy question. Favorite movie and why?
I'm not a big movie guy right now, but I've always been a Star Wars kid, and I like the paradigm of what's good and evil, right? Because there's probably a Luke Skywalker in all of us, but the dark side with the, Darth Vader and all the whole different, everybody likes the idea of the romanticism of rebelling against the Imperial forces. And it's just a great storyline about good triumphing over evil, doing what's right. And, they using something that's beyond just the physical force of weaponry. There's using that force, the Jedi. You could say it's a religion or a spirituality, but really kind of ties in a lot to what we learn about the military, right? Like we go overseas, we have a mission, we get that mission, but then when we come back, what really happens is the military isn't so great with teaching us what to do when they take away those weapons. So refining that mission, tapping in maybe your inner Jedi, those are some things that are always going to be classics that I go back to. But Heat's also a really good movie for tactics. Never go wrong with Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer. And we all probably have been on that fine line where you could have gone one way or the other. I think that movie just gets better every time. Every time I watch it, it's just, I can associate both with every character. And really, it's about a hell-bent cop that does everything to get the bad guy, and the bad guy that does everything to do what he can. But eventually good triumphs over evil. But just a classic movie. Like that shootout scene is pretty much ideal. Like that was beyond its day in terms of tactics. So
I like how you brought two. It's funny. I don't know if you recognize this. I recognize this in language, but you brought up Luke Skywalker of the good over evil. Luke Skywalker, if you follow, I'm a big Star Wars fan, by the way, I'm going to geek out here, but basically, you know, when he cuts the hand, right, of his dad and all these things at the end and Return of the Jedi, he gets, that's the dark side. Actually, Luke's gets the dark side. He's working both sides if you follow the canons and everything. And that's what they try to bring up in the other three. We won't talk about that. But then you bring up Heat, where people are not fine line. And if you, I've obviously in the past 2 years I'm doing really deep my journey on spirituality. And the one thing that I needed to embrace was that dark side that we have, because everybody has it. But we've been conditioned to think, good all the time. Well, actually, if you actually really sit down and spend some time with yourself, you're going to see there's a dark side there. Your shadow side, what is what they mean. You need to have a conversation with that and you need to embrace all parts of yourself, which is funny that you brought that up today. I just wanted to point that out, that you're saying there's this fine line where we need to operate as soldiers. We know that we need to be aggressive and you need to accomplish the mission, but it goes deep inside of you to reach that person that will do that. Right. We're in the
which
business.
Wolf do you feed? Right. You have two wolves inside you. One's bad, one's good. You choose to feed whichever one you feed gets bigger and stronger. And then always something to reflect upon as former soldiers. It's better to be, a soldier in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? War.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Always, however that goes, I love that.
That's awesome. Corey, we could go on for hours. I know that we can, and we will probably have you again as both of our platforms grow and all these things. But if people wanted to reach out to you, where can they find you? We'll put all the links down below. But I mean, for people listening right now and they wanted to, I got to call this guy, or I got to reach out, or I got to follow him. What do I got to do?
Well, probably the easiest way is to hit us up on Instagram. I probably check it more than once a day, more than I probably should. And then we're also pretty much everywhere else. Facebook, we have a TikTok. We sort of try to figure it out. I don't know how that thing works, but Instagram's 90% of where our traffic and attention goes. Right. Email works as well, but find us at Mad Hatter Industries. Just type in Mad Hatter Industries, one word, and you should be able to find the icon logo, which is basically an M and H and I all mashed in. And then you'll see a clown mask dangling, a person dangling a grenade. That's probably your most recent post. So try to get a little artsy with the whole mental health side of things and have a little bit of fun. Yeah. And it's a pleasure being on this podcast. I look forward to being on again and certainly discussing future collaborations. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Corey. Guys, go and give them a follow. That is for sure. I love their social media. It's every day. I love to watch the stories, whatever they come out. They came out the other day with something they were jumping out to announce the fall line, I think it was. And it was a guy inside this box that just popped out while he was skydiving. It was amazing. So guys, give him a follow. Reach out to him, ask the question you need to do. Like you said, he's big into mentoring, having these discussions, and we'll have him back for sure as he grows and we grow as well. And guys, this has been the Battle Plan Podcast. Hopes to see you on the next episode.